Hey, great Tuesday, great Tuesday evening. It is an amazing day in the city of Brownsville, and uh, it's been a kind of crazy couple of 24 hours. There's a lot been going on. Marco, buenas noches. Osvel, buenas noches. Saludando, say hi to everyone that's going to be coming in slowly but surely. Belinda, buenas noches. And Pedro, good evening. Saludos. Edward, good to see you, my man. And Joe, my man, how's it going? Good man, good to see you. And Saucio family, how you doing? Lea, good evening. Diana hermosa, ¿cómo estamos? Al, Genaro, buenas noches. And Diana, ¿cómo están? And let's see. Gloria, good to see you. And Carlos, saludos, buenas. Hello, guys. Hola, Pati hermosa. Hola, Palomita hermosa. Adri, buenas noches. Jessica, Michelle, good evening. Good to see you. Martin, thank you for calling us, gentlemen. We deserve that. We need that. Oh, yeah, it's showtime. Jason, my man. Adi, how's it going? Mario Herrera, ¿cómo estás? Saludos, compadre. Let's go fishing, bro. Sure, take me. Frank, good evening, my man. How you doing? Jeremiah, buenas noches. Guys, thank y'all. Lynn Jen, how's it going? Ese Frankie looking sharp finally, right? It took a while. Belen, ¿cómo estás, Belen? Good evening, Lily, hermosa. Saluditos a mi tía, Doña. No. Hi, my friend. Jeremiah, I love you. Miss you. Hey, Kenny, how's it going? Ray, good evening, my man. How's it going? Primo, good evening. It's showtime. We're almost getting, everyone said, episode. Ulysses, my man. I love you. Say, my love to your family, bro. Isla Blanca Park closing for 10 days. Yes, because of the number spike. That was generated by the company and not necessarily the city. More, ¿cómo estás, More? Buenas, ¿cómo estamos? Stay positive. I love this man, Luciano. Hello, Yesenia, ¿cómo estás, Yesenia? Ay, me los perdí. Here we go. Bob, my man, Bob is going. Good evening, Horacio. Buenas noches, guys. Hola, Michael, Lara. Saludos, María Elena, hermosa. Diana, ¿cómo estás? Te saludando, Frankie. Good evening, Norma, hermosa. ¿Cómo estás, mi amor? Sad news from Hannah Teacher. Yes, we're going to talk about a little bit about Hannah Teacher. We're also going to talk about the other positives at Hannah. Hello, my man, Julio. How's it going, bro? Good to see you. Hey, Liz. Linda, hermosa, ¿cómo estamos? Arturo García, saludos a quién? A Irma. That's all I'm going to say. Saludos a la raza, mi Leroy. Good evening, Kathy, hermosa. Goodness gracious, guys, it's so hard. Dennis, love you, Denise. Jesus, buenas. TA works from home and sends teachers and students to school. Yes, it's going to be crazy. Lasmo, I love you to the best. Rolando, I love you more. More. Saludos, amiguitos hermosos. ¿Cómo estás, Tony? Dios bendiga. Good evening, Tess. Good evening, Belinda. ¿Cómo estamos? More, hermosa, ¿cómo estás? And a rough day today. A rough day today. And we're going to talk about that for sure. ¿Qué ha habido? Erasmo, sacar las stickers. Aquí tengo las stickers. Pasen por ellas, por favor, a la oficinita. Buenas noches a los dos, Verónica. Hey, guys. Hi. I'm going to stop there. Stop saying hi, guys. Stop saying hi. Estamos haciendo... Aurora, ¿cómo estás, mi amor? Gloria, ¿cómo estás? Bendiciones, Héctor. Dios te bendiga. Alex, I heard Charlie is your best friend. No, para nada. Hello, guys. Let it rip potato chip. A little rip potato chip. I like that so much. Hola para de hermosos, par de hermosos. Gracias, Lidia hermosa. Cookies were great. You guys gave. Gabriel! I love you, Papa.
Hey, Gabriel.
I didn't give them to you. I still want my damn money. Tell your mama and Papa to break down with a donation, Papa. I love you, Papa. Guys, let's go starting off with the numbers. We are waiting for Commissioner Jessica Tretreau. We know that they had a meeting, a city commission meeting earlier. So she is logging on. So thank you, City Commissioner. She'll be on in a little bit. And again, thank you, City Commissioner, for coming on tonight and, answering a lot of individuals' questions out there. And again, it's very, very low battery. Be right back. Hurry, Tony. Come back, bro. It's very, very important for elected officials to always be accessible, and we humbly asked Commissioner Jerry, Papa. Hey, I left a cookie there for you, Papa, at your house. Your mom and dad, I haven't given me the money yet, but it's there for you, Papa, because I love you, Papa. Guys, Commissioner Tetro, she'll be logging on in a second. She's just finishing one meeting, and we'll go over that in a little bit. I would like to say, guys, that the numbers are in for the city of Brownsville, and there's a couple of things that I'm very, very disappointed in. Well, I'm very disappointed that we're still seeing that increase in regards to the hundreds of numbers coming into the city of Brownsville. I forgot how many were from Brownsville.
71. 71 with 2 deaths. Yes, sir.
71 from Brownsville with 2 deaths, guys. And again, that number is just ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. Good evening, Armando, my man. ¿Cómo estamos? Juan, buenas noches. Dios te bendiga. Love you, man. Again, one of the things that I think is very, very telling is that the majority of these cases that are coming in are community-based cases. So it's something that we really need to take a lot of caution to. With that said, a lot of these cases are in the early ages. If I'm not mistaken, there's only 6 individuals over the age of 70. 6 individuals over the age of 70. If you look over the list, which I posted on my page, guys, you're going to find a lot of individuals out there, again, in their 20s. But what surprises me, guys, and look, and listen, we've been saying this for a while. And saying it for a while, we're going to say it again, guys. Look at the numbers, and you're going to see one thing. It's like a progression. We started going with the elderly, and then we started to have the 50s and 60s, los chavorrucos, the 40s and 50s, and then all of a sudden we're starting to get 20s. That list is full of 20-year-olds. But my other concern is that it's not just 20-year-olds on that list, guys. There's a lot of teenagers on that list. There's a 18-year-old, 9-year-old, still a child, 11-year-old, a 16-year-old, an 18-year-old, a 13-year-old, a 10-year-old. Guys, there's a lot of these teens out there. And if you remember correctly, we've been talking about that, how these teens were going to start to show up, how these teens were going to start affecting our number count. And I really think that it's going to start to come into fruition. So what does that tell us exactly? That tells us that it doesn't respect age. It's something that's going to be a constant no matter what we do. And the more we act irresponsibly out there, the more numbers we're going to get. It's not going to stop. Frank, what the numbers tell you?
It is very alarming. Commissioner Tetro will be with us momentarily. The city did release a matrix of the city being in a category 4, which is, fairly serious. Advising us that we should only, be doing essential things, not leaving our home, trying to avoid contact. Erasmo, but there are a lot of school-age children that I see here on the list that was, reported by Cameron County. So it is very alarming. Cameron County, we're already at 3,000 positive cases, in 3 months. City of Brownsville had 71 cases. Hidalgo County, just for today, reported another 15 deaths, if I'm not mistaken.
16.
16, I'm sorry. Yes. So it's very alarming. I don't even know what to think no more, Erasmo. At first I was maybe we'll get over it, shortly. And then, it started getting very serious. Friends, loved ones started getting it. And I was like, okay, this is very serious. But now everybody just doesn't care. Everybody's like, oh, well, it's good for my immune system. This is something that we have to get. So we're not taking that extra precaution. So that's what we're seeing that these numbers come from. And, people have been critical of me saying, oh, you're so negative. And good evening, Commissioner. How's it going?
Good. How are you? I'm doing good. How are you?
Pretty good, ma'am. Just want to thank you for taking out the time to be with us and answering the community's questions. But first and foremost, how was your day today? How are you feeling?
Everything was really good. I just got out of a 3.5-hour city commission meeting, so I'm kind of frazzled. But
we were talking about the numbers, ma'am. How Brownsville reported 71 cases with 2 deaths. What do those numbers mean to you?
So it's very concerning. Not as a leader, but as a resident of Brownsville, it affects all of us. That means that everybody here in Brownsville now knows somebody that has contracted the coronavirus. The numbers that we've started to see mean that people are dying a lot faster than they were before. And so this is very concerning. We need to protect ourselves. It just means that we need to be more vigilant. We need to be staying home. If you have to leave your home, use your mask. It's that simple.
Well, let me tell you, and thank you again, Commissioner Tetreault, for being on. Me and Commissioner Tetreault have known each other for many, many years. And, me and Commissioner Tetreault, we've had our ups, we've had our downs. But, one of the things that is very admirable is that, we have history. We go back and we have a cup of coffee together. I go get my car washed for free sometimes.
Charge him next
car wash. So, that's what family does. Family, sometimes they'll fight, they'll scratch it out, they'll disagree, but they always come back together when it's Thanksgiving. And thanks again, Commissioner, for being on here. And thank Art for me, because last time I took my car out there, it had a lot of little oil, and he made sure he got that stuff out. So thank you.
I heard because you take it in to get the sand vacuumed out. So I know more about you than you think I do.
I love Art. Let me tell you, vamos a ir a Ricardo's in downtown. Alex, whenever you want to take me to Ricardo's downtown, I'll be there. Commissioner Tetreault, let me tell you what is very, very troubling to myself. I actually, we have 2 deaths reported in the city of Brownsville. That is alarming to me, and I'll tell you why, Commissioner, and then maybe you can give us some input.
Sure.
Today, I visited the funeral homes here in the city of Brownsville, and I spoke to a lot of the individuals out there, and that number is completely not right. The county is not doing us a service to the city of Brownsville by reporting in the past 3 days 4 deaths in the city of Brownsville when we've had close to 70. I mean, it's a disservice. Why are they so slow in informing individuals, letting us know, the people of Brownsville, the numbers? And doesn't that cause individuals to go like, it's not that bad?
So I really commend the county for what they've been doing. The amount of volume of people that have been infected in the recent days, the amount of paperwork they've had to do is tremendous for the staff that they have. The people that are there, I know them personally, and they're working as hard as they can. The problem is that right now it is absolute chaos in our community because so many people are sick. So the county's doing, the best that they can. But the truth of the matter is, whenever somebody dies from coronavirus, the paperwork has to be sent to the state Department of Health Services. They have to be signed before the county can officially report to the community. So the great thing about people like you and the use of Facebook shows us in everybody's timeline, we have at least 5 people who are mourning a family member. So the real numbers are not what you're seeing on those papers. The numbers you're seeing are on your Facebook friends asking for prayers. The numbers you're seeing, please pray for my tia. My tia just passed away. You see it within 2 days. Somebody has died that has contracted it. So the truth of the matter is, we need to be vigilant in the community and stop relying on these news outlets. I mean, yes, they are very helpful in ways, but don't have a false sense of security in the numbers. No pasa nada. There's not that many people that have it.
Yes.
That's not true. And thanks to people like you who are alerting what restaurants and what establishments have had issues, it makes us even more aware and more conscious. But I think someone like yourself can agree with me in the fact that we shouldn't be relying on official numbers. It's a lot larger than we are led to believe.
Commissioner Tetreault, my concern, Commissioner Tetreault, is that a lot of individuals out there, and yeah, you hit it right on the head. I mean, my news feed fills up on a daily basis in regards to individuals that have passed away, individuals, and that's the only reason I decided to go directly to the source and say what's going on. And you know what, Commissioner, one of our friends, and I'll tell you later who she is. She was the one that actually pointed me towards the funeral homes because her mom passed away. And I was going like, and I was, and I'll tell you, I'm sure you know who it is, but we'll talk about it afterwards, Commissioner Tetreault. But a very good friend of both of ours, a supporter of you and myself, and I was, heartbroken for her. But she let me know, hey, this is what's happening. Also, there's 9 people that have passed away from Valley Grande Manor. And, there was a total of 27 at one, 15 at the other, 15 at the other, 9 at the other. And I'm going like, what the heck is going on? And it's very, very concerning. And look, and I understand that the county is overwhelmed as well. I mean, with that said, the numbers at the county of individuals that have tested positive in the county is horrible, Commissioner Tetreault. And if I remember correctly, I don't know if you remember, but the first time that Judge Eddie Trevino let us know in regards to the numbers, he made mention in regards to there being 3 county health department individuals that tested. Those are the first time that he mentioned those numbers. And I thought, goodness gracious, these are the individuals that are actually on the front line investigating this. Now they produce lists in regards to all the positive in Cameron County. I mean, it is everywhere, Commissioner Tetreault, everywhere. Does that surprise you? Does that worry you? That concern you?
It does, and it has for a while now. I've been seeing it probably for about a month and a half. I guess with the first start of, Easter, Mother's Day, that wave, that's when I knew it was going to be very serious, because we were having reports. Believe it or not, there were actually other nurses who would say, hey, this nurse is out of work because she was exposed or whatnot. And I saw her at HEB. And we would get people, hey, my coworker tested positive, but I went to Walmart and he was there. So we started getting these reports, and that's when we knew people are not taking this serious. People are not following the law. People are not respecting each other, and it is a recipe for disaster. And sure enough, that's what happened. And I'm sorry, I saw the comment and it really threw me off.
No, it's okay. And I shared with you.
Both you and I knew we were getting these reports from people who were concerned, and we would forward everything to the county. There was even a point where I posted the county number, because one day I had like 3 reports of positive people out in public. And so we've just been, this is how I feel. Truly, I feel this way. At this point, the government, the leadership can only do so much and tell you. It's our responsibility to protect our family. It's our responsibility to protect our coworkers who's going to take it home to his mom and she's going to die. I mean, what kind of society have we become if you cannot protect yourself and those that are around you?
Commissioner, earlier today, the city released a matrix categorizing us at a number 4, which is very serious. What do you think is going to take for us to potentially get to the very severe number 5?
To be completely honest with you, I feel like we're going to be there probably in about a week.
Yes.
With last 4th of July and seeing the amount of people who were on the beach, it really concerned me, because there's no way that I can explain it without wanting to cry. So many people are going to be needing healthcare, and our hospitals are at capacity. And what's going to happen when, God forbid, your mother can't breathe and you have nowhere to take her? Then what? And that's what I'm afraid of. And I have been probably, like you had asked me, one of the most vocal people, screaming from my lungs. I have this thing on my page where I can see people who delete and block me. Since I started the coronavirus, I've lost so many people who are like, no pasa nada, this lady, I can't take watching her anymore. But I'm just trying to tell you what's going to happen if you don't protect yourself. And this is where we're at. I know, Erasmo, that you've been very vocal as well. This is so serious.
It is very serious, Commissioner Tetreault. And let me tell you, I'm concerned, and I've seen, your concern as well throughout the community. And it's very, very commendable and very, very much needed, because, a lot of times, a lot of the other commissioners, we don't see them as much as we see you, as we see Mayor Mendez out there, and, at the time when individuals are going through this type of crisis, they need to see leadership out there fighting for them. We don't see the county commissioners either. We see Judge Trevino, but now I think that he's at a place where, he just doesn't know what else to do, because there's people that are cabezones. People are cabezones. They don't heed recommendations. They don't heed suggestions. They don't heed warnings. But it's even worse, Commissioner Tetreault, when it comes from the same leadership. And I shared something with you in regards to, before we came on, in regards to something that is in your district. we had the situation where today we did learn that one of our teachers, one of our amazing teachers, a very beloved teacher out at Hannah, passed away this morning. Passed away, and it is very, very concerning to a community. It's very, very concerning to our teachers out there, Commissioner Tetreault, and that I know because they tell me that they have communication with you. They're scared, Commissioner Tetreault. They're scared because they feel they're being forced to go back onto a campus where it has been proven that individuals come out testing positive. They're scared. What is your feel in regards to teachers out there in regards to returning to on campus before August 1st?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, and I want all the teachers to know that I am with them and I agree with them on that. My mom was a teacher, my grandmother was a teacher, so I know firsthand the chalk that they goes to, how it damages their lungs. My mom, every time she gets sick, it turns into bronchitis and then pneumonia because, she, for many years, used chalk and breathed it in, and when you erase it, it goes flying everywhere. Now it's the magic markers. It's a daily way of life for them, and not just the things they've been exposed to, but how many kids have gotten them sick. They can't call in anytime a kid in their class is sick, so they wind up in the Valley Day and Night Clinic. They wind up at their doctor's offices. They wind up taking rounds and rounds of antibiotics. And so if you can imagine what their immune system, some of them.
And we lost Commissioner Tetreault. She'll be back in a little bit. Again, technology, that's how technology is, guys. And again, I'm very, very concerned. I'm going to answer William's question. A lot of people have had it. Not many people are dying. William, that is a mistake. And let me tell you, I visited the funeral homes today, guys. I visited the funeral homes. I spoke with a lot of directors out there. I spoke with a lot of individuals at the nursing homes today. Look, guys, I'm tired of this narrative, guys. You're preaching a narrative that is not true. It's not based on facts. I have been to the facilities. I have contacted the directors of the nursing homes. I've actually been out there, William. So no, I'm sorry, man. It's very real, and a lot more people are dying. Folks, listen to me. Listen to me. In the past 3-4 days, sorry, Commissioner Tetreault, technology. Listen to me, guys. In the past 3-4 days, we have had close to 70 deaths in the city of Brownsville. 70 deaths in the city of Brownsville. I'm not talking about Cameron County. 70 deaths in the city of Brownsville. Again, guys, do not get complacent. Do not think, I can go do whatever the hell I want. It's only 1 or 2 people dying. No, folks. No. Listen, guys. Look, all you have to do, and Jessica, Commissioner Tetreault mentioned it, all you have to go is go through your news feed. But let me tell you, if you got a lot of other people on that news feed as cabezona as you, then you're not going to see it because all the people are going to be telling you, you're right. It's a hoax. It's going to disappear. It's not real. But look at Commissioner Tetreault and myself. We have a vast variety of individuals from the city of Brownsville, and every other post on there is my family member, my sister, my mother, my little brother has positive, and many of those passed away. So it's not a hoax, and don't be preaching that narrative because some people actually believe it. That's why people are going to H-E-B and Walmart in chanclas and shorts and no mask with 20 kids. Commissioner Tetreault, we're telling people, stop taking kids back and forth. Leave them at home because we're going out to Walmart, Commissioner Tetreault, and we're seeing individuals out there with 3, 4, 5 kids. That's a huge mistake.
It's a huge mistake, and the level of irresponsibility baffles me sometimes, and I know a lot of you feel that way as well. It's just the reality we face, and as you know, there's 2 types of people that wind up with coronavirus. There's the person that went out partying, went to a bar, whatnot, the careless person. Then there's the person who has to work to pay their bills, has to work to feed their children, has to go into work, doesn't have the option of staying home, and winds up contracting it from a coworker, or winds up innocently getting it because they've been taking care of themselves, but they're exposed very closely to somebody that was not. And so we really, really need to protect ourselves.
Again, all we can do is tell people, guys, please adhere to the guidelines. Please listen. Commissioner Tetreault, one of the things that that y'all were very proactive to do as a city commission. And let me tell you, and I was one of the first ones out here saying, goodness gracious, they're on the right path. Back in March, when all this started, y'all voted to shut down the schools. Y'all said, you know what, we don't want our children, we don't want our Brownsville children out there, when we don't know what's going on. The school district defied y'all's resolution, y'all's ordinance, and they decided to, call y'all out on it. And I think, Commissioner Tetreault, that time has proven you all right, and has proven them, unfortunately, for our community, for our children, for our teachers, for our staff, has proven them very, very wrong. I mean, Commissioner Tetreault, come on, at a time of pandemic, in a time of great need, we cannot have a front of diversity. We can't be divided. We have to be united. What happened? Where did all that break down?
I supported the mayor wholeheartedly when he placed that order. Are you there? Yes, you're good. I can never tell if it's my Wi-Fi or yours. I supported the mayor wholeheartedly when he did that, although BISD did come back and say that we didn't have the jurisdiction, which of course they were right. We wanted to send the message to parents and everybody around that it was not safe to be doing it, because we were seeing in New York City. This is not new. This is not just Brownsville. So many cities have been gutted from their heart because of what COVID is able to do if you're not handling it correctly. And one of the main things is gathering people in large groups. And that's what you're doing to your child. You're putting them there with 25, 30 BISD numbers. Let's be real. There's a lot of kids in those classes.
Yes.
So we knew that it was a very high percentage that kids would start getting infected. And we just, let it be what it was. I don't want to bring things up from the past, but we feel very strongly that our children need to be protected. Amen. I know there's a lot of other things that go into that, funding, money, all kinds of things, but we need to be very vocal with the governor and let him know. Send him a tweet, send him a letter. I'm not comfortable sending my kids back. I'm glad that they're doing this hybrid program, but I would prefer that it all be virtual. But then again, there's those kids that have no access to computers and internet, and those are the ones we really have to look out for. My concern there is that those kids have to go into school now because they don't have a computer. We should be giving kids computers.
Commissioner Tetreault, speaking about, the rift, for lack of better words, between the district and the city council, without putting you on the spot, would you be in favor of shutting down BISD if they do go back to school and bring back the teachers and the students? Would you be in favor of shutting them down?
Well, that's a very hypothetical question because as one city commissioner, I don't have the power to do that. But I would homeschool my children or not send them back if that's the case. I'm seeing articles now where the state's going to go after you if you don't send your kids back. That absolutely doesn't mean you can unenroll your kids and teach them yourself if your school district does something you don't like.
And you know what, Commissioner, you're exactly right. And that's going to be the only other option that individuals are going to have. Look, one of my concerns, Commissioner Tetreault, and I'll share with you, again, I have no science behind it, but there is some new science going on in regards to coronavirus being airborne, being out there and possibly in the ventilation system. So, it is a novel, virus out there. We're still learning in regards to it. My concern is, Commissioner Tetreault, if we go back and look at what we've lived here shortly, we see that a lot of the big outbreaks that we've had have been in enclosed spaces, like buildings. So we've got individuals out there at a building, and all of a sudden, boom, they brought that into positives. The same thing happened to Cameron County. It happened here at the Levy building. They were all enclosed in that system, and boom, they exploded into positives. They went back to school during the summer, and the same thing happened, Commissioner Tetreault. So there's sort of like kind of a correlation between enclosure, airborne ventilation system, and people, coming out positive. So again, parents, if you feel that it is unsafe for children to go back onto campus, you're going to have to keep them at home and do homeschooling of some form, sorts, or others. There's not going to be a different way. Now, as of right now, the district has been talking about distant learning. if I understood what Betsy DeVos said, what President Trump said this morning with Melania Trump is that they're not going to allow that. It has to be an in-person education, and if that happens, it's going to be chaotic. It's going to be chaotic. It's not going to be a good thing. Um, Commissioner Tetro, you have school-age children. Would you send your kids to the school, or are you going to keep them at home and homeschool?
I would keep them at home and homeschool. My son goes to St. Joe. St. Joe was one of the first schools to pull out and go virtual. I don't know if anybody knows that, but they did. They advanced their spring break and did that. And looking back, I can't tell you how appreciative I was for doing that. My son really matters to them. They didn't want him to get sick, and they didn't want to be responsible if he got sick. So they forwarded the spring break for him and let him go, come home, and this kid went to class every day, sometimes in his bed. There was like a little meme of a little monkey with hair everywhere, like waking up for a Zoom. That was my kid every day. But he learned, and there was nothing wrong with it. So I totally support that.
I think distant learning is going to be, the only way for parents to send their children to school. And if that's not the case, then the other option is going to be homeschooling. My other concern is, our teachers won't have a choice. Our teachers won't have a choice, even if they homeschool, Commissioner. Even if they homeschool, this district is going to make them go onto campus, and that's a mistake. That is a huge mistake.
I hope unions really have a big role in that, because they do have a voice and they do matter, and it should be heard.
It should. Commissioner Tetro, you did mention in regards to the hospitals, and yeah, we've had doctors on here, and the doctors have mentioned exactly the same thing. Our hospitals are at 107, 105, 104% capacity. What that means is that a lot of our patients are waiting in the hallways, and it's just going to get worse. We did see the big amounts of crowds going out there on spring break, so that only tells us that our numbers are going to increase, and our medical staff are going to be even overburdened, overwhelmed. What have you heard from our medical professionals out there? I know that you are in contact with them. I've heard that they're working 2-3 shifts, tired, frustrated, and what have you heard from them?
So right from the beginning of all of this, we arranged a call every 2 to 3 days. We're in constant contact with both hospitals. From the beginning, we've known their numbers. We've known who's positive. We know who's coming into the ER. It started concerning us around Easter that people were showing up with flu symptoms, and we were already late April, early May, and people shouldn't have been having that. That's when we started seeing it. But my concern now, what I'm learning from the calls, is that we need help immediately. And I reached out to Congressman Vela's office, who's been amazing, trying to get help, trying to get more nurses, trying to get people and resources down here. So our hospitals do have more room. They have more wings, but they don't have any more nurses. And one of the things that really breaks my heart, and I know they're reaching out to you too, the nurses who have been positive and been exposed at work, and how scared they are and how strong they are to go through what they've gone through and get right back up and go back in knowing they can get it a second time. So my hat's off to the nurse and the hospital staff. They're doing the best with what they have, and they are so strong and so brave. I just really commend them, but it is a very critical situation. We're getting to a point where I know that you're getting the inboxes too from people who are not able to be admitted into a hospital, and that really breaks my heart, because it's older people, it's people in their 70s. It's always a child reaching out because their parent can't get health care, and that really breaks my heart.
Commissioner, we've heard, throughout the weeks and months, how the city of Brownsville has 6 or 7 ambulances at the city's disposal. It's hard during these times, but is there something that the city commission is looking at right now to try and expand or tap into those resources?
So again, our EMTs are amazing.
Yes.
They've done an incredible job with what they have. We have 7 EMTs that currently run. During the regular year, it's usually enough to sustain us. Sometimes there are long waits. It just depends. Right now at this pandemic, the situation is not that we don't have enough EMTs, which is something we always actively have to be looking for money to sustain. The issue right now is that our EMTs are having to wait hours I'm talking about like 2 or 3 hours. That's enough time to get you to Corpus Christi. They're waiting outside of the hospital because they have no beds to put patients into. So you can't just drop the patient off and leave them outside the hospital. You have to wait until the hospital can take them in. And so that's what has been taxing our current stream of ambulances. But it's something that always needs to be worked on. Our population is always growing.
It's
And
always
it's something that we have to constantly address. There will never be a solution. There'll never be an answer. We just have to do better.
Commissioner
Right
Joe,
now, as a hospital.
one of the questions that was asked by someone, like I think it was Eduardo, but I'm not sure, was in regards to what resources are there out there for individuals that are homebound COVID-19 that can't go get groceries, they don't have anybody else. And I do know, and I'll answer part of this question. You might maybe have a better answer. I do know that there's a lot of church groups out there that are helping a lot of individuals. So please reach out. I've had conversations with my family, church family at Living Way. I love Living Way, and I spoke with them in regards to a comment someone made in regards to their leadership being positive, and they let me know that's not the case. Someone else had made the comment, but I appreciate them. I've always had great communication with them. They're out there to serve. Down here, down SPI Highway, we do have Restauración y Poder con Pedro Medina, Pastor Pedro Medina, and we have other churches. Just reach out to your churches. They're more than willing to help. They've been very, very proactive in regards to providing food services out there. I don't know if there's any other groups that Commissioner Tetreault, that might be out there helping out individuals that can't go get groceries and stuff.
So there's Favor, there's Shipt, there's all kinds of those apps that are available. Also, right now, I know several pharmacies are delivering to patients that have COVID. I really appreciate that. And also, like, if you get on Favor, this is something I learned, and it's not to plug Favor, it's just to teach people. Even if, like, it's medication or just something you need done, just write it in the box and send it out. Somebody will run that errand for you. That's something I learned. It's not just groceries that they deliver. They actually do that. Right now, there's so many people out there that are ready to help you. Stay home, ask for help. If you can't think of anybody to call, post it online. Somebody will find it.
Amen. Or send me an inbox, and I'll find something. Commissioner, any plans to distribute non-pharmaceutical inventions such as face masks, hand sanitizer, etc.? This would great way to help mitigate the spread.
So I do know there are several associations out there that are making, churches, like you said, face masks and things like that. There are people out there. I know the city of Brownsville we're working on an information campaign. This is one of the things we just talked about at our meeting. We really want to help employers understand the CDC guidelines. Right now, not everybody is taking that second test to come back in. So right now, so many people need tests. We're not even able to find a doctor or a drive-through or anything like that will do the second test because so many people are waiting for test number 1. So we're going to do a huge information drop on behalf of the city of Brownsville for all of these businesses, all of these people who have questions that really can't find answers to and wind up inboxing us. We're going to be doing a better job to make sure that information is available to you and being used.
We in the child care centers are also stressed on the safety of our teachers and kids, and only made it worse when we saw those pictures of the island and family gatherings. As such, we daily disinfect, plus having professionally disinfect every week. It doesn't make us immune to the virus. We're just waiting for the consequences for those irresponsible people. Very, very true. And again, go ahead, Frankie.
Commissioner Tetreault, going back to the hospitals, is there really an overflow? And if so, does the city anticipate, using the dome or using other pop-up, facilities or areas to create space and beds for those in need?
So right now, this morning, we were given the numbers on our hospital call. I think each hospital had probably about 20 people, maybe just right under that, waiting to get in. There's a waiting line just to get in to the ER. So we just really, really, really need to be focusing on keeping ourselves safe. What was the question you asked me? I started remembering the numbers.
If the city is anticipating, any pop-up hospitals or opening up the domes or any facilities.
Back to that. So there's so many people waiting to get in. I just sat through a 3.5-hour meeting, so I'm over here hanging on by a thread. So there's about 20 people waiting to get into the hospital as it is. And so we have talked to our state reps and everybody all the way to the governor's office to ask what we can be doing for that. The governor just sent a strike team of nurses. About 36 nurses came into Brownsville to help alleviate that number. Unfortunately, we're already at that right now. So we're expecting to see within 5 days of the 4th of July holiday, a major burst. And so we're trying to get strike team back, more resources back here. The question is to open the FEMA Dome. We do have the FEMA Dome available at the sports park. That FEMA Dome, when I first came into office, we fought for. We were originally going to get 3. When all of the money started being distributed, we were only able to take 1. That FEMA Dome is there to protect us, or if people need shelter during hurricane season. It was never, ever imagined to be something like this. It is available. The issue that we would have would be staffing it. So right now our hospitals still have a floor left, I believe, each one. But the issue first is we need staff. Before we go into a second location, maybe we could just find staff to bring into these hospitals. Remember, these hospitals are equipped with oxygen tanks that are built in, all kinds of things like that. So you definitely want to utilize your hospital space before you go into doing a makeshift.
Trump wants to send our kids and grandkids back to school. He's delusional, crazy man. Not going to happen. Why doesn't he send his son Barron back to first? Let me tell you, and that is one of the big concerns, I think, right now. People are afraid. We do know that our students are going back to school on the 13th, which is next week. Actually, next week on the 13th, going back to school for conditioning training. It's a mistake. It's a mistake. Our numbers are not there. The deaths are high. More and more individuals are testing positive. We still don't know a lot about the virus. One of the things that we've said is that, we don't really grasp or understand what recovered means. We just really don't. So again, thank you, Commissioner Tetreault, in regards to sharing that information in regards to the dome and stuff. We're hoping that if we do get the personnel, we can, use that for an emergency situation. One of the other concerns, I think, is the economics of the whole matter, Commissioner Tetreault. How are we doing as a city in regards to our tax base?
So that's something that's definitely changing. I would say more than the tax base is alarming is the amount of small businesses that are having to shut their doors. We still have people, for example, at the party places that are under restriction. They have not been able to open since early March. If you think about it, how many of us have ever had to have a quinceañera party, something like this? If they all have to close their doors, when this is all over, I don't even have words. Where are we going to go? What are we going to do? This is an entire industry. It's not 1 or 2 people, 1 or 2 party venues that are affected. It is everyone. And so that's what's really concerning to me, that we have businesses that are having to shut their doors. We have business owners who have no idea how they're going to pay their $3,000 to $5,000 rent when they have zero income. Our bars, for example, we have to support our bartenders somehow. There's just so many. Well,
I supported them too much one time.
I'm not a bar goer. I'm not a drinker, but I've owned a bar. So I understand that aspect of it.
Amber alert.
Those have been driving me crazy all day long. So yeah, there's so many industries. We just don't see it as the industry. There are so many people that work there. And these are people in Brownsville. These are our brothers and sisters. These are our friends on Facebook who are out of work and struggling. So more than just the tax base, this has been devastating for the residents of our city. Some of them.
For most of them. And again, I was a very big supporter of the bars at one point, but changed my ways a little bit. But let me tell you, one of the things that we constantly try to tell individuals out there, especially my friends that are small business owners, is you're going to have to transform yourself one way or the other. One of the biggest concerns, I think, for a lot of the individuals more on this side of town, the southern side of town, is that we know a lot of our revenue does come over from Mexico. And that has taken a very huge hit because a lot of the individuals cannot come over. Are we as a city going to be in a good spot next quarter?
It's really concerning. I don't know if any of you have taken a drive downtown. Sometimes I just go past by City Hall. We're not allowed to be in there. They're being very strict with us commissioners to make sure that we stay safe. But sometimes I do take a drive downtown because I miss it so much. And it's a ghost town. It is so concerning where you used to see people, crossing the street back and forth. That's not happening anymore. There's no cars. Remember, you couldn't find parking downtown. You would have to go and make several rounds and rounds. there's nothing but parking available. And this is so concerning. This is a lot of revenue that's been lost for our economy. A lot of people who are losing jobs. A lot of people who are going to have to start shuttering their stores, because how can you pay your payroll, your rent, your insurances? You can't operate a business without insurance. All of these things, like, where do you start making the cut? And after you pay all of these things, what money are you taking home to put food on your table? And this is so concerning.
It is very concerning. And again, I think everyone in the city of Brownsville is taking a hit. One of the concerns is in regards to our EMS and firefighters. And I will say that a lot of them are already succumbing to coronavirus out there. Are our frontline personnel being offered hazard pay, Commissioner?
Yes, so that's one of the things that we're looking at right now. I support the hazard pay for all of our first responders, fire, police. I even support some type of compensation for those who have to go in and work in city buildings, because we've had quite a few of those test positive as well. And it's not just you that test positive. You take it home and give it to your whole house. Just like you said, that ventilation system, how many of us have a separate, unit for every room? Not very many of us. And so I do support that for our fire and our police. We are looking at it. We still do have funds from the CARES Act available. There is because they're contracted, there's a very unique way that we have to pay out that money with the contract. But we can go back and amend the contract and go back and see how we can do it. But it definitely needs to be done. And I posted yesterday, I'm more than willing to put it on the agenda. I really feel like they deserve it. They give so much to us. Us here sheltering at home, staying safe, they're out there picking up patients who have COVID and are gasping and coughing all over them. They definitely deserve to be compensated, and also have a hotel to stay at so they don't take it home to their family.
One of the concerns out there, Commissioner Troll, was that our ambulances could not pick up COVID-19 patients. A lot of the family members, actually, they've been posting on social media that they've had to find other ways in order to transport, because once our EMT and our firefighters find out that the patient is COVID positive, then they will not transport. What other resources can we provide as a city for individuals who cannot be transported by EMTs?
So I don't know if it's my computer or yours, but it was like a robot. Tell me real quick. What did you ask?
It's in regards to a lot of our EMTs have been given instruction by the department that they are not to pick up COVID-19 patients. They are not transporting them to hospitals or emergency rooms. Family members have to find other ways to transport their patients. Is there any way to provide any other type of service to help these individuals out?
So I'm not aware of that. This is the first I'm hearing of it. I do know that there have been issues where somebody on the phone will not relay that it's a COVID patient that needs to be picked up, and then the EMT officers are not prepared when they get there and need to suit up and need to take precautions for themselves, and it's caused a little bit of confusion. But sure, we need to be looking at that.
We do. It's very important.
Commissioner, switching topics. Lately, we've been getting a lot of concerns regarding PUB. Previously we've heard different numbers being thrown out in regard to Tenasca. Do you have a definitive number in regards to the monies either allocated or recouped since for the past 6 or 7 years regarding Tenasca?
Well, I don't have an exact number, but I know it's millions of dollars. Tenasca is one of the projects that I did not support from the beginning, because our first meeting was, we're going to have to raise the rates 33%. What? That's almost half of your light bill. And as a business owner whose light bill is already like $3,000 to begin with, where does that put me? As a homeowner who's paying $300-$400 in the summer, where does that put me? And so much of us, it's just a project that lacks a lot of transparency. And I think that it's not fair to the public to say, hey, I need you to pay 33% raise on your light bill, but I can't tell you any information about this project. I can't tell you when it's going to be built. I can't, it could be anytime in the next 20 years. How is that fair to you? And how can I justify that type of commitment as a PUB member to the entire city. It's not right and it's not fair. And I think that the board from the past really made a mistake and really wronged the people of Brownsville for putting us in that position.
Well, Commissioner Cho, and I like calling it like it is. You know me. Let me tell you,
I both.
I am very, very, very concerned with having a former PUB board member, on the city commission right now, and actually not lifting a finger, and also, coming out with stupid statements, especially when we lost $1.3 million, and saying, "Well, don't worry about it. The insurance will pay for it anyway." It's irresponsible statement, Commissioner Tetro. Very, very irresponsible. Because look, at $1.3 million may not be a lot to this city commissioner or to other individuals on the city commission. It's a heck lot of money for us individuals here, where our median income is only $12,000 to $14,000 a year. So I think it was very, very sensitive. Now they have information. Commissioner Golonsky, was serving on the PUB board, especially when Tenasca deal was going on. She knows the ins and outs of it. Why is it so hard for her to share with the people of Brownsville, not just her district, the people of Brownsville, what the hell is going on with PUB? I mean, they were on there again today asking the city commission for more permission to get more money. I mean, goodness gracious. Is the $300,000 salary that is received by the top three individuals at PUB actually merited in a town where the median income per year is $12,000 to $14,000, Commissioner?
I think, well, first of all, I cannot speak for her, and that's one of my coworkers, so it's kind of a weird situation. Although I do have my very strong feelings as a ratepayer, both in my business and my home. I'm not one of those fortunate people who live on the outskirts and get to pick who my provider is. So I'm locked in. And it really doesn't seem fair to me that I have to pay more money for a bad business deal that never came into fruition for the community. There are so many good people at PUB. I can tell you the linemen are some of the strong and most bravest people in this city. You've seen the videos on Facebook, what can happen to a lineman without, following it's electricity. It's so dangerous. There's no protection for you if you get electrocuted. I feel like those guys should be the beneficiaries of any money that we've paid into. They keep our lines running. There's an issue. Hey, they run out, whether it's Thanksgiving, Christmas, you name it. They're the first people out there making sure that the electricity is turned back on. So I love the people who work at PUB. I'm friends with a lot of them. I feel like the people that work there are the true people who keep the company running, and they should be compensated if anybody is.
Usually it's the secretaries and the administrative assistants that do all the work.
Yeah, no, but I feel very strongly about that because I've been around so long. I'm going on 10 years now. I'm one of the longest serving city commissioners. And for years, we just see it and we have no control. And PUB is a different board. People always ask me, well, why don't you do something as a city commissioner? Why don't you hold them accountable? Because let me tell you, in the city charter, and I feel like this is something that you all need to fight for in the city charter, a PUB board member is locked in for 4 years. That's the term that a city commissioner who is elected 4 years.
Ridiculous.
They cannot be removed unless 6 city commissioners decide unanimously. So once you put somebody on PUB, good luck. They're there for 4 years. And whatever they decide, whatever business deal they try to entangle you with, the city commission has no control over it. They say they're a separate entity.
That's
so
crazy.
We have to know.
That's crazy. It's just crazy. Commissioner, before I lose my train of thought,
Sure.
let me say, we recently had candidate for state senate here, Sarah Stapleton Barrera. She is competing for the state senate seat. One of the concerns that I raised with her is one that I'll raise with you, City Commissioner. She was speaking in regards to being pro-choice, and my concern with her is, as I said, well, Sarah, Ms. Stapleton, your constituents are pro-life. A great number of individuals here in the city of Brownsville are pro-life. That's just who we are. We're conservative. Doesn't mean that we're Democrat or Republican. It just means that we are pro-life. It's part of the thing. And my question to her was, being that you represent the people and the people are pro-life, will you switch your stance? She said, no, I'm still going to be pro-choice. And I thought, that doesn't sound too good. My question is, a lot of individuals were very concerned in regards to a couple of the things that happened in the city of Brownsville recently. I will say West Fronton. A lot of the people in West Fronton were very, very upset that the street name got changed to McNair family. And a great old bunch and chunk of them wanted it changed back to Fronton. Still, it didn't pass. I mean, the people out at West Brownsville, they think that they weren't represented on the commission. What happened with West Fronton?
So yeah, this is another very controversial topic. Almost a hot button like Tanasca.
Yeah, you're getting the hard questions today.
And by the way, Sarah, I love Sarah. I went to school with her. I've known her probably about 25 years. She is the most wonderful person, even though that's her opinion and idea. She is still a great, great person, and I would love to see her in office in any capacity. She's a good person. But anyways, so Fronton, that's a very good. The day I was sworn in, I had a meeting, of course, right? Because I was sworn in at a meeting. And the meeting had like 3 or 4 items on it. So that's probably a 30-minute, hour tops meeting, right? At this meeting with the old commission, because remember when I won, I was the only person that won that night. There was a whole bunch of runoffs.
Yes.
So we still had our old commission. Everything was the same, even though I had been sworn in. That night, I had a huge party at my house, my swearing in party in my backyard. And I thought it would be like an hour. But it turns out that Fronton, without me seeing what was on the agenda, I just looked at the number. I didn't see all of them. Were on the agenda. It was on the agenda. So I thought it would be 30 minutes to an hour, and it was actually like a 3-hour long meeting because a lot of people had opinions, and everybody, everything that was said the second time was said the first time. But in that meeting, it passed almost unanimously. I think it was unanimous. And Fronton was changed. So whether my vote mattered or not, it didn't, because everybody else voted that way in favor for it, if I remember correctly. And so it wound up that I got here for the end of my party that night because, I take my roles and responsibility very seriously.
Right.
And it wasn't an issue. So it was the last commission that changed the Fronton name. It really, I was not the tiebreaker. That was not the situation.
Right.
So it was supported by the other commission. Ironically enough, the commission changes, new people get in, and it's placed back on the agenda. And so I just have issue whether it was Fronton or not Fronton, and I still see there's still East Fronton, or is it West? There's still the other half of Fronton that's still named Fronton. But I take it very responsibly, as anybody would, to take something and give it back. So it was very hard for me to see how the first commission did it unanimously. And then the McNairs, who they're good people, would be given and taken away. That was what I had issue with. It wasn't that I was trying to disrespect Fronton or anything like that. The first time it passed, it was unanimous. My vote didn't matter. The second time, my issue was giving and taking it away. It's like if we give you a street at Osmo and then somebody complains and then I have to take it away from you, that was.
Yeah, I want international to be called Erasmo Drive. I don't know. That would be a good name for a street, Erasmo Drive. My other concern, Commissioner, and we've talked about it here a little bit, and we're going to mention it because Rodney brought it up, and Rodney we're somewhat on the same page. One of the other concerns was the removal of the Jefferson Davis Memorial Rock at Washington Park. A lot of us thought that it was kind of catering to a lot of the individuals who don't even live in Brownsville, because a lot of the groups that were out there pushing for it and actually came down in protest, they weren't even from Brownsville. The majority of the people in Brownsville, didn't even know that damn rock existed, and some of us that knew that existed didn't really care too much about it anyway. I'll let you know that even despite the fact that there was that controversy, I never in my 32 years of life, because I'm only 32, in my 32 years of life, I never read the damn plaque. And now I kind of feel kind of like, what? Wait a minute. Now I want to read the damn plaque. Commissioner Joe, weren't there other more important things going on in Brownsville for us to focus on a stupid rock? And why are we listening to people from out of town who aren't even part of Brownsville who are so concerned about a rock?
So again, the rock goes back the same way that McNair Drive did, back to the last commission. This was originally brought up probably in about 2016 when it was first placed on the agenda. And that last commission gave the task to a task force and the Parks Board. They all came together. It was a lot of people. They met multiple times. They put a lot of time and energy into it to decide if it was something that we wanted to take down. That way it wouldn't be the decision of the city commissioners. So this task force came together. They met multiple times. They reached out to all of the community back then. They had online surveys. I don't know. I kind of vaguely remember one of those survey monkeys going in, and a lot of people were voting on it. And they brought back to the commission the results of what had been decided. I remember sitting there at that city commission meeting, and it was a full house. There must have been 200 to 300 people who were there. And that's why when you say it means something to people who don't live here, maybe a few of them, but that meeting that we had, there were about 200 to 300 people who did live in Brownsville, who I could see the pain in their eyes and what it meant to them to have that rock removed. So I would never classify it as it means something to a few people who don't live here. Maybe, sure, of course. I mean, everything means something to somebody. There are things that happen in Houston that are important to me too, right?
Yeah.
But there were a lot of people from Brownsville who needed to see that rock go. And ironically, even though this task force had done so much work and put into it, the commission never acted. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because they were voted out before we could get to it. I don't really know what happened. But I knew that with everything going on in the country and everything, all of the hurt and things that were rising to the top, this finally needed to be concluded. It was a halfway done thing. It was never, it was halfway done. Why do all this work if you're not going to follow through? Why investigate Tanasca if you're not going to have an outcome? We don't
have an outcome.
Exactly. That's the next thing we should be working on.
Well,
so
yeah.
I just really strongly felt like it was the right time and place to do that.
Mom, you push us.
Okay. I'm a visitor.
Hi, Mama. Papa.
It's my little kid.
Hey, Papa. I like your glasses, Commissioner. Very stylish. That's not a question, but okay.
Thank you.
You get a lot of comments.
Commissioner, what can you tell us in regards to the police force? Has there been an increase or decrease in crime during this, during this pandemic and even during this curfew?
Let me get him in bed real quick, and I'll be right back. 1 minute.
Guys, go. Let's do a little bit of BISD while the county commissioner is doing one of her most important duties is taking care of her children. Guys, in regards to BISD, guys, we're not going to have much of a choice. If I read what President Trump put out there and what the sentiment is of Betsy DeVos, is there's going to be no other choice, but you're going to have to go on campus. And let me tell you guys, it is the worst time to send anyone onto campus. It is the worst time. Again, do not believe the charts. Do not believe what's being said out there, guys. The numbers are wrong. We have not produced 4 deaths in the past 4 days. We have had close to 70 deaths. 70 people have passed away in the past 4 days here in Brownsville. I'm not even talking about Cameron County. I'm talking about Brownsville, Texas. We are not getting accurate numbers from the county. The county is not doing is doing a disservice to the community. We need to have accurate numbers. Anyone that watched the press conference that Judge A. Trevino had, I mean, wasted an hour and a half, 2 hours of their day on nothing, on nothing. There was nothing on there that was pertinent in regards to anybody else's well-being. None whatsoever, none. And I'm just very, very concerned. We have to keep our people safe, and the only way that we're going to keep our people safe is to stay away from each other. And look, the recommendation of a lot of folks out there is been constant. It's been the same: stay away from each other, maintain distance from each other, wear your face coverings, and it's going to be impossible to do for individuals who are going back on campus. Impossible. Impossible. And you know what? Someone asked a question in regards to are the board members who have children at BISD, are they going to be sending their children to BISD? And I'll tell you the answer. The answer is absolutely, positively no. They're not going to. They're not going to. Let them lead by example. And I challenge the board members that have children at BISD or at any school. I challenge them. Send them to school, and let's see them going to school. They will not be sending their children to school. They will not. And this is I think the only board member that has children in school is Laura. She will not send her children to school. I guarantee you. I promise you, she's not going to. And as much as they may pay bloggers out there, Commissioner Tetreault knows a little bit about bloggers. As much as they may pay bloggers out there, los borrachos, los coco locos, my former coaches, as much as they may pay these people out there to say whatever the hell they want to, I don't care. The facts are the facts. Sending the teachers onto campus is a death sentence for our community. And it's not just talking about BISD, for our community as a whole, as people in the city of Brownsville. It is going to be a disaster. A disaster. I mean, there's no way it is not going to be a disaster.
Yeah, we had President Trump along with the First Lady, stress that, school come the new year is going to be opening up. Funny how TEA, Commissioner and Erasmo, TEA, they closed down shop and they're working remotely. But then we have the governor, also stressing that, business as usual, school will open up once the school year initiates. So it doesn't, we keep on getting these numbers, in the hundreds. Hidalgo County had 16 deaths. Today we had 2. But again, a lot haven't been reported. And Commissioner Tetreault alluded to earlier that right now the matrix that was released, we're in a 4, and she anticipates it possibly going up to a 5. A 5 being the most serious, another possible shelter in place. So, July 15th is next week, where the athletes are supposed to go back. One thing, when we finally got word from the school board superintendent, I'm sorry, he made mention in regards to people getting infected, but he has yet to make any announcements in regards to the deaths. So it's very sad whenever somebody at leadership does not, and forgive me if he did reach out to the family in private, but something like this needs attention because the community is scared, and we look to city leaders to make statements to guide us. And unfortunately, BISD has not been doing that lately.
They haven't. I don't want to comment online, but want to ask about plasma donation. I have family very ill, and they waited for a bed at hospital. He is not out in the community. He was essential contract virus in reference to plasma. We have been on the wait list for some time. No plasma. Guys, if you're going to, please donate. Vitale is out there, going to be out there, and I put it on my page. I can't even remember where. I think it's at Dirty Al's, that area right there. But again, go check on there, and they'll. I saw my page. I'm sorry, but go donate plasma. I know the Valley Regional was doing it, but right now I don't think that it's going to be possible. Vitalent, or something is out there, and they're out there. They're doing plasma. Commissioner, do you know where it's going to be at, or?
I wasn't aware that there were any in Brownsville, but I do know that DHR is collecting. You have to look online. Just type in plasma donation, and you'll find a lot of information about it. Or you can call the health department, 546-HELP, and they will get you to a place. Right now, that's one of the greatest necessities, plasma and hospital space. You just heard it from somebody firsthand. They're not able to get into a hospital, and that's alarming.
They can. Is the police department communication screening COVID calls?
I'm sure they are.
Yeah, they have to. I mean, I think, and that's what. And let me tell you, Commissioner Joe, I'm very critical when it comes to not getting the services that we my hats off to our police department out there. Police department has done a hell of a job. A hell of a job. Our firefighters, our city employees have done an amazing, amazing, amazing job. And again, if it wasn't the case, I'd be the first one to be calling it out. An amazing job out there. I think there's some concerns in regards to the ambulances, but it's their concerns that we've had for a while now. And it doesn't seem like we're going to get any quick fix in regards to one. But we need them very bad. One of the things that you mentioned that I think is very alarming is, we might have the space in regards to setting up these makeshift hospitals, but we don't have the individuals that are going to man them. And the doctors have said the same thing. And we mentioned a lot of our doctors, a lot of our nurses are falling prey to coronavirus. With that said, we are getting these busloads of individuals coming in to Hidalgo County and here to Brownsville as well now. Are there any individuals from the state that are out there, checking up on our nursing homes?
Yes. So today alone, we had a new nursing home get on that list. And the first thing that happens is the state, the county, and city go in. And they have been so helpful to us. We've had outbreaks. It's not a secret. We've had some very serious outbreaks where people have died. And my hat's off to them. They tell them, we're going to bring in our nurses. We'll give you this. What resources do you need? We will give it to you. Unfortunately, not all facilities utilize that. And that's where we have further chaos and destruction. And there was one of them that the state almost took over. But I'm not too sure what the follow-up with that was. But
Fox Hollow?
I can't say. I don't feel like getting sued.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll say it. I know for a fact that the state actually had 8 state employees up at Fox Hollow. And one of the things, I will say, Commissioner Joe, I appreciate Fox Hollow being very open, because I did speak with the administrators. They've been very, very upfront. I did speak with administrators at Fox Hollow, and they were very open in regards to the numbers. And, they let us know that the National Guard had come in and did a thorough cleanup of the facility, a deep cleaning, and also that they had like 8 individuals from the state out there sitting. My concern is, my big concern is Valley Grande Manor. That is my number one concern right now. And I know that Ebony Lake and others are out there as well, Commissioner. But right now, my big concern is Valley Grande Manor had 9 deaths in a couple of days. They're understaffed. A lot of the individuals that were working that hadn't already contracted coronavirus opted to quit. We're getting calls from inside of individuals that, they need some help out there. And, what really pisses me off, Commissioner, is that they're not on the county's list. They are not on the county's list, and that is very, very scary. A lot of the people here in Brownsville that have loved ones in there, they can't even communicate with their loved ones in there. What are we doing for our people, our nursing home people?
So I know the city has offered all resources. Our health department, they are so amazing. We have so many people that are contacting them daily. We get phone calls. We're doing so much with them. But this is just the reality of the current situation. If you infect your city to this point, it is only a matter of time before it's not just Valley Grande. Today we had another nursing home that's starting in the same way that they did. And it's so alarming and so concerning. I can't tell you enough. If you've ever listened to me with anything, listen to me with this. Coronavirus has the potential to kill people in your family, and you have to take it serious. If you don't infect them, anybody else around them can infect them. And you need to tell your parents, don't go to HEB. Teach them how to order online. They don't have a computer, send them a mobile tablet where they can order. This is so serious. It is so easy to protect yourself. It is so easy to be careful, but you have to follow through and maintain. It's just self-discipline. Protect yourself, because this is so dangerous. And if all it takes is one person to do that to an entire nursing home, if you work in a nursing home, you know the responsibility on your shoulders Don't go to the beach.
Commissioner Tetro, one of the McAllen, faced with the influx of a lot of coronavirus patients out there, are thinking of contacting the McAllen Independent School District in order to take over some of their buildings. We here in the city of Brownsville have Brownsville Independent School District that closed down three schools that are in key positions. Will the city consider at some point, if needed, uh, taking over the empty schools to use them as a clinic or a makeshift hospital for the citizens of Brownsville?
So one thing that I will give credit to our community with is, I don't know if you remember, but around Easter, spring break, that time period, Hidalgo County actually had less infection rate than we did. Somewhere, somehow along the lines, Hidalgo County has now doubled the current number that we have. And so we pray for our friends in Hidalgo County, and I'm so sorry that they're in that situation. But my hope is that we never push it to a point where we're in that type of situation. Like I said, our hospitals still have space. We wouldn't need to be moving into our schools at this moment yet. But I can tell you, in a week, we're going to start getting a lot of inboxes. We're going to start having a lot of friends who are going to have parents that need medical care and aren't able to get it. So we just need to continue fighting and writing to our state representatives, to our congressmen, to make sure that we are getting nurses brought into this area who can help our hospitals, who can continue staffing and helping the nurses that we have. And these people that are coming in, they come in with knowledge. Some of them have been in New York. Some of them have been in New Orleans. So they come in with a lot of knowledge and they know what to do. And they're so great. They share, they help everybody. We're so grateful to have them, really. We just need to continue with this source for now before we start looking at opening buildings and things like this. And my plea to the public, again, please stay home. Please cover yourself. Please, if you feel like you're infected, lock down and don't get anybody else sick, because this is so serious. You can kill somebody with it.
Thank you. Principal Nas also would recommend some platform for nurses aides to assist in informing family about updates. Our nurses are overwhelmed with something difficult to update family via phone. Of course, following HIPAA. Definitely. Thank you again. We need to be prepared. Take care. Thank you for doing these shows. Well, thank you. Frankie and Asmo, can y'all put in a word for me with the commissioner? Wow. She's married, guys. Life of a working mother. She is married. Yes. Good evening, Asmo. Saludos. Love seeing you guys. Love you seeing you too, Rick. Gonna vote tomorrow. Please go out and vote. Did she leave out? Did she leave to avoid the question? No.
What was the question? I'll answer it.
I think it was concerning the importance of the rock. The numbers are skewed. If a person is COVID positive at the time of death,
or is it me?
Irrelevant on how the person dies. The death is recorded as a COVID death. I've heard this mentioned by numerous agencies and press conference. Let me tell you guys. Let me tell you that a lot of the numbers out there are. Look, guys. Look, guys. A lot of the numbers out there, multiply them by 10, by 20 in some cases, and then you'll have an accurate number in regards to the positives and also in regards to the deaths. Multiplying by 10, and in some cases, multiplying by 20, because the numbers are backdated. If there's one thing that we found out, was that after an individual, one of the first individuals that died here in Brownsville, it took the county 2 weeks to report. 2 weeks to report. And that's why, again, it's important for us to continue to keep all of us informed. Look at the district did the same thing. The district, they got positives out there. It took them a week and a half, 2 weeks in order to report them. Now, because we've been placing some pressure on the district, now the 2 positives that came out today from the main office at Hannah and from the custodial staff at Hannah, now those individuals that were reported today, and we found out about it today, it was reported today. I'd say it was in the afternoon, but at least we're getting a quicker count. Now we know to be very, very careful at Hannah. But at this point, folks, the custodian has already gone out and passed it to somebody else, and it's not his fault, didn't know, picked it up at school. Custodian picked it up at school. So there's no way that this school district, there's no way that anyone can guarantee, and sending individuals back onto these campuses is going to guarantee that they're going to leave that campuses without being positive, without testing positive. But again, and look, and I'll say this, and I won't put words in the commissioner's mouth, but guys, we're not out here to fearmonger. Don't live in fear. Do not live in fear. If there's one thing that I preach about every Sunday is don't live in fear. Be cautious. Be aware of what's around you. When you're going to Walmart or HEB, take precautions, folks, and act as if it's always around you. Take precautions. That's the only thing that we're asking for, folks. Be careful. Don't live in fear. We're going to get through this, but we're not going to all make it through this if we continue to act irresponsibly and do the wrong thing. Simple.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah, everyone should see a little song for Mr. Steamboat. And hell no, he won't go. Actually, I don't know if you saw it, Commissioner Tetro, but Richard Steamboat made a song out of one of the things that, hell no, we won't go. Hell no, we won't go. It's a hit. It's a hit. I'm so scared. I don't want to send my son to school. Do not send your son to school. What leaders? Doesn't that local district have jurisdiction? Trump cannot mandate our local schools. See, this is where it gets kind of iffy because they control a lot of the federal funds. This is where it becomes very iffy. But again, guys, this is an election year. It's an election year. And November the 3rd is going to be either a victory for Donald Trump or a victory for Joe Biden. But whoever becomes our next president needs to know that the will of the people must be adhered to. The people are afraid of sending their children to school. They should not send their children to school. They should not send it. We should not be sending our teachers onto campuses. It is irresponsible. It is irresponsible. I'm losing a lot of comments because there's a lot. The whole blood donations are tested by COVID antibodies. The problem is that historically people down here do not donate enough to meet up the need. You call 956-213-3766, 956-444-2318, or with Vitalant. That's the one that Commissioner Tetro and I were mentioning. 212-2318 for details. Guys, please, please, please go on the door. Viendo tamales, I'll take some, Arley. Send some my way. Do you know if Brownsville is bankrupt due to the pandemic?
So no, we're not. We actually had a lot of support from the CARES Act.
One of the things, Commissioner, let me say, one of the things that's happening in Hidalgo County, there are a lot of extra resources for a lot of the people out there. We constantly see a lot of the money being given to individuals that have suffered COVID-19. I know that BCIC had a program out there. It was just, I'll tell you, it was just too complicated. They were asking for just way, way too much stuff and plans and stuff. And let me tell you, and I love BCIC. I love what Josh is doing out there. I love Josh. I think he's a great guy. I think he's, doing a heck of a job. I think it's Josh, right?
Yes, Josh Mejia.
Yeah, Josh. I love Josh. I love you, Josh.
Is that me or is it you?
I think it's you, Commissioner. It's okay. I love Josh. I love him to death. I'm not asking him out on a date yet, but what I'm trying to say is that he's doing a great job. But that little business loan that they were giving out there, Commissioner, was really very, very complicated to fill out. They were asking a lot of stuff that a lot of my people said, what the hell is a plan? What is a plan? And a lot of individuals didn't know what the heck it was all about. And, right. We need to make sure that when we're offering grants to individuals, simple and to the point. Because if you're asking for these master plans and projects and all this other stuff to give someone who's struggling, who doesn't have an accountant, on hand, then won't be able to fill it out. And you know what happened, Commissioner Tetro? I'll tell you what happened. The same thing that happened with the government. We started to have these major corporations getting $40 million for the SBA, and the small businesses didn't get anything. So what happened in the city of Brownsville is that the larger businesses that had accountants, that had individuals that they could pay to fill out all that paperwork, got that money from the city of Brownsville. But a lot of my small-time business owners didn't get it, Commissioner.
I agree with you on that. And that was something that we were so worried about that we put a lot of restrictions in it. And now looking back, maybe that wasn't the wise thing to do because people didn't really understand the user. It was not user-friendly enough. So definitely go back and look and see what we can do next time, because I really do feel like another lockdown is coming. I mean, let's let's be honest and let's talk about it the way it really is. What did we do on the 4th of July weekend? I have to say there were a lot of responsible people. I don't know if any of you took a drive or went outside on the 4th of July. It's so beautiful outside. Everybody was lighting fireworks from their home.
Yes.
A lot of people did stay home and they did follow the rules, and I love that. Then you have the people that went out to the beach, come and infect everybody who stayed home at work. So we just really.
How does the city commission plan on using the funds that are still available for the CARES Act? What are the plans for those monies?
So we just authorized another $500,000 for testing. We spent probably about $250,000 from March on just on testing alone. The problem is we were testing maybe 50 a day, 20 a day, 30 a day, and now we're testing 250 or more a day. We've even had to bring on a second provider because we have so many people trying to get tested. I wrote down the numbers that I have. Let me see if I can give them to you because these are really interesting numbers. So we have.
Go. I'm sorry.
We have tested 7,600 people from the beginning of testing in March, mid-March. 13,195 people have turned in a questionnaire but not met criteria for COVID symptoms. So 13,000 people have tried to get testing for one reason or another. That's on top of 7,600 people who actually have been tested. So right now, we're seeing a really large number of, like the majority of our cases are either linked to another case, but community spread. And that is one of the things that's different in our community from others. It means people are picking up, oh, there's our mayor. Yeah, the mayor is right. Play that.
Yes. And the mayor was exactly right. And that's exactly where we're at. Multiply everything by 10. I would say even closer to 20. Sorry, Mayor. I don't mean to to contradict you again, but I'm going to say between 10 and 20, Mayor. But thank you, Mayor, for coming by. Commissioner Tetreault, one last topic. Y'all did have a city commission meeting today.
Yeah.
Well, one of the big concerns that I've had with the city of Brownsville, and while I was on the board of at BISD, was I wanted to make sure that we started.
Me or is that you?
I think you're freezing a little bit, but it's okay. It's just technology, and that's what the question is about. Technology, Commissioner. In regards to technology, y'all did have a vote today in regards to the $21,000 that y'all received. That y'all received from a lot of the different places out there, to the point where Ramiro, which I still don't know what the hell Ramiro does for the city of Brownsville, but that's a topic for another day. I hear now that Ramiro wants to be the director of GBIC. I'm going like, what the hell?
I've been at home. I don't know.
Oh my God! I'm going like, not Ram, please, God, no. Anyway, sorry, Ram. I like you a little bit, but goodness gracious, what the hell do you do for the city of Brownsville? But anyway, he went out there and made a presentation today, Commissioner Tetreault, in regards to the $20,000 that are $20,000 that were going to go to the grants department from the $21,000 they collected from the 7 agencies, which is like $150,000. And they're going like, God, another $150,000 for surveys, for more stuff and everything else. He made mention in regards to they calculated 400 hours at $50 an hour. That's madness. Who in the hell in the city of Brownsville makes $50 an hour? Now, my concern, Commissioner, is, the city of Brownsville already has a grant writing team. BISD, I know for a fact, has a grant writing team as well. So does every other entity out there, probably except GBIC, because they use the city's grant writing team. Why are we going to again use $150,000 to go out there and start researching bringing broadband to the city of Brownsville?
So, yeah, I agree with you. So one of the things that I find so ironic is broadband. Well, we all know about SpaceX, right? They're in our backyard.
Yes.
Their latest baby is Starlink. And so Starlink is worldwide speed of light internet access. So are we going to need this in the future? I really feel like this is something we should be watching and not maybe investing in the tail end. If we can maybe get citywide access to internet like this, let's be honest, fiber optic is very extremely expensive, and we need to be looking to the future instead of back. And I feel really strongly that we should be reaching out to SpaceX and asking. I think it's before the end of the year that they're coming online. I wouldn't mind having that. No infrastructure and internet everywhere. That's pretty cool.
Now, one of the things that and I don't know if you remember back then, but that was one of the first things that I did while I was on the BISD board in regards to Smart City Initiative. We had individuals from Apple, we had individuals from Sprint, we had individuals from AT&T down here. I mean, they were ready to help the city of Brownsville. BISD, the city of Brownsville, working together, and GBEC was there as well in regards to making Brownsville into a smart city. And I will say administration dropped the ball. They didn't continue with it and everything else. But again, going on into what the whole matter is, when? I mean, why are we still doing research and studies and using the money, the resources of our people to pay grant writers $50 an hour when we already have grant writers?
And I agree with you. And that's why sometimes people are like, why did she put this on the agenda? Because sometimes I have knee-jerk reactions and I'm just tired. I can tell you that broadband internet, I think it was around the time you were there. Commissioner De Leon at the time really brought it. He even brought in people, I think, from during the time that you did. But this is not something new the city is just coming up with. This has been 4 or 5 years in the making, and we're barely at this point. So it's just one of those things that if you have a dream and you have a vision and you have a goal, you just really have to work for it, because a lot of people will work against you and a lot of people won't take you seriously. So that's another thing in public service. You really have to work hard to get something done, because the wheels just move so slowly. It's the way it is, and it shouldn't be that way.
I'm scratching my ear, and I know I'm not supposed to, but it's so. Commissioner Tetreault, again, we're at our time. It's 10:32, and we've taken too much of your time already. Commissioner Tetreault, any last words?
I just really want to thank you for being so transparent and helping us with the COVID situation that you have done. Always. I consider all of us ambassadors, and those of us that have platforms need to tell people how real the situation is, because our county is so overwhelmed. And not just that, remember, there are people who are not testing because of their immigration status. They're not able to, find public testing. Let's not forget that. There are people who have gone to the hospital, and when they tell them, oh, the test results go to the county. No. They don't want to have any type of medical test or any service done because they're afraid of it being reported. So we have a lot of people who are sick, who are not coming up in these number rolls. We have a lot of people who have no access to health care. We have a lot of people who aren't aware of it. And we are just having a very bad COVID outbreak in our city. And I think anybody who helps spread the message like you have, and have been transparent about telling people the real situation that's going on, even as elected officials, sometimes we know things and we can't say it, because guess what? They'll come back and sue us. And that's just yourself getting sued, because the taxpayer has to pay for my lawsuit, right? So there's not a lot of stuff that we can say for those reasons that we're locked, but we are aware of. And the situation is so extremely
crazy,
critical. And I appreciate you who go out there, because you could be sued too. You put yourself in that position, and you still tell people what I need to know. And I've always, that I admire that about you, because you just say it.
Yeah. I still have cookies, guys. I still got an Osmo. I just got a new batch of cookies today. So, guys, pick up my damn cookies, guys. And let me know inbox. Frankie, last words.
Special shout out to Amanda Valero. And very quickly, before I get in trouble, special shout outs to Chilo, Eric, Albert, Alonso, Alex Alonso, Changuito, Ernest, Jason at Buck Cook, Narlos, Roel, Warley, Joe Berger, David Cook, and Mikey Perez. Sorry. I needed to send a special shout out to all my friends. Thank you so much, Commissioner Tetreault, for taking out a little bit of your time being with us, answering some questions. It's very important for our community to hear from our elected officials It is now more than ever that we look to y'all for guidance and leadership. And thanks to you and to Mayor Mendez for stepping up to the plate and delivering when it's so much needed. So thank you so much, ma'am. A lot has transpired today, guys. It's very scary whenever we have the President of the United States, urging governors to open up the schools, and we're around that time where it's right around the corner. Here down in South Texas, the end does not seem near. Again, Hidalgo County reported 16 deaths. Brownsville, we have 2 reported. We did speak previously about, a lot of unreported cases. So this is getting from bad to worse. The city released the matrix, and we're at number 4, and we might go into a number 5 and possibly another shutdown. So reality right now is very scary. The end does not seem near. So let's try our best to avoid large gatherings. Always wear a mask as much as possible, and avoid and focus on social distancing. Hopefully, we'll have our normalcy sooner rather than later. But until then, we must take each and every precaution to try and prevent the spread of this virus from getting even worse. Thank you so much, guys, for your patience. Erasmo Castro tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Tune in.
Commissioner Tro, again, thank you so much. And again, always out there, always willing to pick up your phone, answer questions. And I think that's one of the things that is a constant out here in regards in the community. Also, Mayor Mendez, always out there, always answering questions. Guys, please adhere to the recommendations and suggestions. Do your own research. Open your eyes in regards to what really happening out there, and to stay safe, stay away from each other as much as possible. Take care of your viejitos, take care of your small children, guys. Please, our children are succumbing to it. Our 20-year-olds are succumbing to it. Guys, please take care of each other, and please take care of me. God bless. We'll see y'all tomorrow, 9 o'clock in the morning.